Hey guys, McLain Jones coming to you with my Tanner Plantation blog update for February. Just spent some time looking back at the recent sales and the market trends for January in Tanner Plantation, and stumbled across a really important statistic that has climbed to its highest level in almost 3 years. And I wanted to share that with you. That is the number of showings per listing, the number of showings per listing. And that's obviously a measure of demand and what kind of traction are home sellers in Tanner Plantation getting in the market. So we're going to dive into that here in just a second. I just wanted to show you again, this is my Tanner Plantation neighborhood page on my website. If you want to come search homes in Tanner that are for sale, or if you want to share this with someone you know who's looking to move into Tanner, you can see them here. You can set up searches and stuff. But this one just reduced $30,000. It's in Mossy Creek. It's got a beautiful new pool in the back, and a couple of these have been on the market for quite a while. So, you know, who knows? It might be an opportunity there. So you can request a home value report, other stuff. Okay, so let's dive into the real story, and that is the number of showings per listing in Tanner. This first chart, you can see this is for Tanner Plantation, and it's the number of showings per listing. Okay, and if we look down at the bottom here, you can see the years. Now, in January, this peak right here is January, and we had 7.4 showings per listing in Tanner Plantation. And if we look back, that's the highest since May of 2023. So that's almost 3 years. So what caused that? Why are so many people out looking at houses in Tanner Plantation right now? My two guesses, or educated guesses, would be either because interest rates have trickled down lately. My lender has kind of a best rate of 5.75% right now for good credit, 20% down, that kind of thing. And then the other guess would just be general value that people are seeing in Tanner Plantation as Daniel Island and Mount Pleasant prices continue to climb. So the way I thought that we could try to figure that out, or at least get some more information, is if I overlay this trend line with all of Hanahan and with the entire greater Charleston area, or whole MLS, which is the three county area, Dorchester, Berkeley, and Charleston, then if it is interest rate driven, shouldn't the other areas also see a similar increase in showings? That was my thought. Okay, that's my thesis. So let's look. Here's what happens. Now, first of all, let me point out that Tanner Plantation, the trend line went to turquoise. Couldn't stop it, couldn't keep it the same color. So this is still the Tanner line. And then you can see down below, the dark blue and green are for the entire MLS and Hanahan. And they're at just over 4 showings per listing, where Tanner Plantation is at 7.5. So nearly almost double these other two trend lines. So that tells me that it may not be interest rate driven, that this is likely a value proposition that Tanner Plantation is to buyers around Charleston. This, good homes, good schools, great parks and recreation, that kind of thing. So that's great news. If you're a homeowner in Tanner Plantation today, your neighborhood is attractive, is what that's telling you. Okay. So then I wanted to take a look at just in general, what price points are buyers looking at, and which subsections seem to be getting the most showings, so we can compare that. So what I did is I pulled another report from our Showing Time app, if you will. And again, up here in the top left, you can see this is Tanner Plantation, and it is for January of 2026. And wow, look at the 400 to 499 price bracket. It got 55 showings in January, and it doubled up the next highest price points, which were the 500 to 599 and 600 to 699. Those each got 23 or 24 showings. So if you have a home for sale in the 400,000s in Tanner, you are going to get a lot of traction if you do things well and correctly. So what does this translate to in terms of the sections of Tanner that are getting these showings and which ones are not? Well, glad you asked. Let's take a look. So if I come over here, this is a graph I put together just reflecting the data that I get from MLS, okay? And wow, as you can see, South Cove killed it in the month of January. Now, I will say it had a particular listing with double front porches, and it looked freshly painted and well staged. And that home got a lot of showings, I could tell, and that's great. They offered a good value and they presented it well to the public, and they were rewarded for it, as you can see here. And then, that 400 to 499 price point, a lot of that is Sweetgrass, Amber Glen, some parts of Ibis Glade, and you can see that Ibis Glade, Charleston Oaks, Sweetgrass all had 7 to 8 showings per listing. Okay, this is per listing. And then the commons, which is mostly under 300,000, those are the duplexes. So that price point always does pretty well. They got 9 showings per listing in January, but then it kind of falls off a cliff. And guys, I didn't include every subsection. Okay, there's 14 or 15 subsections in Tanner, but this one was worth putting on here because the estuary did not do so hot. Okay, it had 2.5 showings per listing for the month of January, and gosh, when I think about why that is, both the listings in that neighborhood are in the 600,000s. One is actively for sale, one is under contract, and so one of them had success. But I think that when people move, the people I know in Hanahan that are wanting to pay $600,000 for a home, I believe they want more space, a bigger yard than most of the estuary offers. In there you're looking at 1/10 of an acre would be pretty large, and less than that is normal. So I believe that is a sort of a functional issue that homeowners in that subsection are going to have to account for. And it doesn't mean that they can't sell their house. It just means they're going to they likely would have to be a little more patient, kind of do things just right and price it effectively, hit the right price bracket. So that's kind of the story. Showings are up. South Cove is leading the way. The estuary is a little bit behind, but all things are possible. And Tanner is in a good spot right now relative to the rest of Charleston. All right. Thanks so much for checking us out. Please look at the links below, either on YouTube or in my blog. It can take you to other good spots, useful tools on my website. All right. Thanks so much, guys. Have a good day.